Hello, all of you. I'm here today talking to teachers who have students with dyslexia, dysgraphia in their classrooms, and they feel worried. They feel worried about how to help the students, what can they do in their capacities. So foremost teachers, I need you to remember you do not have to be the experts in dyslexia to be of help to your students with dyslexia. You as teachers have so much training and knowledge. You know your subjects well, and you with your knowledge are more than enough to help your students do so well academically. They can be successful just with your inputs. Whenever you see a student struggling academically, whether they have a formal diagnosis or they're still in process of diagnosis, know this, that your relationship with them matters a lot to them. What they feel in your presence, what they feel when they look at you, when you talk to them, makes so much of a difference in their life. Once they have the trust in you as their teachers, as their people, that they look at you and say, this is my person, they are much more ready to learn from you than if they feel threatened, if they feel cornered, if they feel judged as not smart enough. So first, the person of you makes a lot of a difference. Second, know this, that students with dyslexia and dysgraphia are not able to read very well, but they understand everything. So for foremost accommodation that we can give to them is if you create spaces where materials are read out aloud. Whenever you want students to engage in silent reading, or when you put up material on the whiteboard or the blackboard, make sure that there is someone reading out the material slowly. This student with dyslexia or dysgraphia has someone who can read it out to them if they want a repetition. And this is where a supportive classmate, a peer, who is not again judging them, who is respectful, who is calm, who is empathetic, who is there to help, is able to reach out to them and able to tell them, okay, this is what it is written. When it comes to understanding of materials, if you as a teacher can make this material available in auditory format, if the chapter can be available to them in spoken language, recording, or if we can train our students to hear to the documents from again technology using speech to text function, where they can have the PDF or a Word document read out by the computer. And we know that all the gadgets today have this technology with us. So as teachers, if we can take some time to make a student comfortable with this audio hearing of the chapters, a lot of times students feel stigmatized or they think they will be less off if they openly tell to everybody that they're using technology to assist them. So, but when we as teachers include this technology into the classroom, when we welcome this technology into the classroom and we train the student to sit with us and listen to the PDF as the computer or the phone is reading it out aloud to them, they become more and more comfortable, and you know what? The information that was otherwise not accessible to them now is accessible. They no more need an human intervention for someone to read out to them, someone to sit with them, someone to monitor them. And a lot of times working with children with dyslexia and dysgraphia, I have discovered this, that when they become enabled like this, their motivation to participate in academics gets exponentially high. Now they figured out their own agency, that they can do it on their own. Also to know that sometimes their energy and the teacher's energy may not match. So the times when I have a free period or I can sit with them, they may be too tired to participate with me. But if they have technology at their hand, then technology doesn't get tired, right? The technology doesn't get prepared. The technology is available when the child is ready, when the student is ready. So this is where when we use technology, when we welcome technology into our classrooms, students become much more confident to owning up that okay, I need this help and I can take this help whenever I want. Another very important tool for our learners with dyslexia and dysgraphia is we need to work on their oral expression. We want them to be able to say their information out, articulated systematically, and that happens not when they are spending hours writing, but when they spend hours speaking what they're understanding, and sometimes inviting these students to do teaching of the class. So if we tell them that let's prepare a topic and to test your topic of understanding, I want you to be the teacher with me. They could be the lead teacher or they could be a co-teacher where you are there to help them, but they will lead the lecture. They will lead the teaching of the topic. That is one way we evaluate their learning, and believe me, we are in for very good surprises when we put a child with dyslexia in charge of teaching. They are likely to nail the topic. They sometimes surprise us being better teachers than we are. But for us to remember that it is not learning that is difficult for them, it is reading and learning that is difficult for them. It is not learning and speaking that is difficult for them, it is learning and putting everything in writing that is difficult for them. So we as teachers need to work on their oral expression and mastery of the content that is in the chapters that we need to hold them accountable for. And once they know that we are flexible, we have multiple ways of knowing what they've learned, they become much more open and eager to learn with us. Also, a lot of times as teachers, we may think that my student right now is in 5th grade or 7th grade. What will happen when they go for board exams? Board exams are not going to give them accommodations of oral expression, but you know what? Now we have accommodations of scribe. So it is very well put in place that if my student can actually say their knowledge out aloud to somebody else, a scribe can be writing for their answers. So if my student is not able to write and show their knowledge, I do not have to hold them accountable only for writing. I can be using their oral expressions, and you and I know very well in life oral expression goes way beyond than the written expression. So if they can speak their minds orally, if they are articulate, systematic, if they can convey their ideas well, we've given them a life skill. And that is where as a teacher who's working with students with dyslexia, we need to find all opportunities where their oral expression is supported to the maximum. Also knowing that our curriculums are spiraling. We start small, we start at the base, and then each year our curriculum is building in small steps where skills are becoming wider and wider. Each year, no matter which grade level you are teaching, when did you discover the student, know that if you have some goals that by the end of this academic year, I will make sure that my student is able to do at least this much, believe me, your student will master at least that much. You may not be able to teach every content area that this academic year is asking your student to master, but if you keep your eye on some goals that your students can master, example here that I will say of English or Hindi language arts. It's a very common practice that we want students to write summaries of stories that they've read, right? Now for me to know that every story summary needs to start with a template of who the main character is, what is the setting of this story, what was the main problem that the character was trying to solve. If I start with only this much goal, that at the end of this academic year, no matter which story that the student is writing, they will at least be able to start their story summary with this story had this character, this was the main problem that the character was trying to solve, and you know what, this is where the setting of the story was, they will be much better off than when they started with you, when they would have written a story summary randomly from anywhere, knowing that their story summary is not meeting the standard of the classroom that they are studying in, and also not meeting the skill set, the knowledge that they have about the story. So we've taught them at least one presentation skill, and I need not tell you, the teacher who is the expert of the curriculum, that you could have picked up any skill, any group of skills that you are going after, having meeting your student even once a week about that skill, sometimes once a fortnight about how they are doing at skill. If you were to teach them that skill for 10 minutes once a fortnight, they will not disappoint you. They would know that this is all that my teacher is expecting of me. This is what I need to show mastery on. And working with students with dyslexia and dysgraphia, I can assure you, they love the attention. They love the focus. They love the clarity. They love the clarity once they are told clearly, this is what we are expecting of you. This is all that you have to master. They put their heart and soul in mastering once they figured out what is it that we are expecting of them. So as teachers, we can do a lot. We need not be experts in dyslexia and dysgraphia to be able to help. If you have special educators in your school, if you have counselors in your school, it would always be a good idea to team up with them. They have the training, they have the expertise in it, and if you all come together as a team, there could be endless ideas how we can support these students. If you let the student go to only a special educator or only a counselor, believe me, we will be doing so much of a less service to a student. If you were to come as a team, it is an enriched environment, and that's why I love schools, because there is not one person helping the student, it is a team of people helping the students, and we can take our students far and wide.